The Dyatlov Pass incident wasn't a case of inexperienced adventurers biting off more than they could chew. This was a group well-versed in the challenges of the outdoors. Led by Igor Dyatlov, a seasoned mountaineer, the group consisted of 8 men and 2 women, all in their early 20s. They were students, engineers, and dreamers, united by their love for exploration and the camaraderie found in pushing beyond one's comfort zone. They were familiar with the terrain, having completed similar expeditions in the past. They knew the risks and were prepared for the harsh conditions of the Ural Mountains in winter. Their equipment was standard for the time, their provisions adequate for the planned duration of their trip. They were in regular contact with their families and friends back home, sending updates and sharing stories of their adventure. There was no indication that anything was amiss, no signs of trouble on the horizon. Yet, fate, it seemed, had other plans for the Dyatlov Pass hikers. Their journey, which began with such promise and excitement, would soon take a dark and inexplicable turn, leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions and enduring mystery. Weeks after the hikers set off, their families and friends grew increasingly concerned, their worry growing with each passing day. The regular updates and cheerful messages had stopped abruptly, leaving everyone in a state of anxious uncertainty. A search party was quickly assembled, fanning out into the vast and treacherous expanse of the Ural Mountains, hoping to find any trace of the missing hikers. What they discovered at the group's last known campsite sent chills down their spines and left them deeply unsettled. The tent was found on the slopes of Kholat Syakhl, ripped open from the inside, as if the occupants had fled in a desperate hurry, abandoning their shelter. The scene was one of utter chaos and disarray, far from the organized campsite one would expect from experienced outdoorsmen. Personal belongings, including shoes and warm clothing, were scattered around the tent, suggesting a hasty and panicked evacuation in the dead of night. The search party found footprints leading away from the campsite, some barefoot, some wearing only socks, as if the hikers had fled into the freezing night with little regard for their own safety or survival. The footprints led down towards a nearby tree line, disappearing into the dense and foreboding forest. The mystery of what had transpired at the Dyatlov Pass deepened with every clue, or lack thereof, leaving investigators baffled. What could have driven these experienced hikers to abandon their shelter and flee into the freezing darkness, ill-equipped and unprepared for the harsh elements, remains a haunting question. The abandoned campsite painted a picture of terror and desperation, a scene that defied logical explanation and continues to baffle experts to this day. Section 4. A scene of utter strangeness. As the search party followed the trail of footprints leading away from the campsite, they began to uncover a scene of utter strangeness, one that would haunt them for years to come. The first 2 bodies, those of Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonashenko, were found lying near a makeshift fire, partially dressed and missing their shoes. The sight was both tragic and perplexing. Their bodies bore strange injuries, internal damage that seemed inconsistent with a simple fall or exposure to the elements. It was as if some unseen force had inflicted these wounds. The search continued, and over the next few weeks the bodies of the remaining hikers were found, scattered across the mountainside, each death as mysterious as the last. The mountain seemed to hold its secrets tightly. Some were found partially dressed, others almost naked, as if they had been stripping off their clothes in a state of delirium. This behavior was inexplicable and added to the growing list of mysteries. Some had severe internal injuries, including fractured skulls and broken ribs, yet their clothing showed no signs of a struggle or external trauma. It was as if the injuries had appeared out of nowhere. The mystery deepened with each gruesome discovery, leaving the investigators more puzzled than ever. The Dyatlov Pass incident was no longer just a missing persons case, it had transformed into a chilling enigma that defied all logical explanation. It was a macabre puzzle, each piece more baffling than the last, challenging the minds of even the most seasoned investigators. What had befallen these hikers in the desolate wilderness? The question lingered, unanswered, and haunting. The theories began to fly, each more outlandish than the last, but none could fully explain the bizarre and unsettling circumstances surrounding the deaths of the Dyatlov Pass 9. The truth remained elusive, hidden in the shadows of the mountains. The injuries found on the bodies were, to put it mildly, perplexing. Some of the hikers had suffered massive internal trauma, akin to what one might expect from a car crash. Yet there were no external wounds to suggest a violent confrontation. The force required to cause such injuries seemed beyond human capability. Adding to the mystery, some of the bodies exhibited signs of radiation, a detail that only fueled the already rampant speculation. What could possibly account for such unnatural injuries in such an isolated location? The more the investigators discovered, the less sense it all seemed to make. One of the prevailing theories to emerge was that of an avalanche. The idea was that the hikers, hearing the rumble of an impending avalanche, had fled their tent in a panic, leading to their disorganized and desperate attempts to survive the harsh conditions. However, this theory had its own set of problems. For one, the footprints found suggested that the hikers had walked calmly away from their campsite, not in a frantic rush. Moreover, the injuries sustained by the victims did not align with those typically caused by an avalanche. Despite its initial plausibility, the avalanche theory left many questions unanswered. Decades have passed since that fateful night on the Dyatlov Pass, yet the mystery endures. Numerous expeditions and investigations have attempted to piece together what truly happened, but definitive answers remain elusive. The incident has become a focal point for conspiracy theories and speculation, with explanations ranging from secret military experiments to encounters with extraterrestrial beings. Each new theory seems to add another layer to the enigma, rather than providing clarity. The Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of the most baffling and tragic mysteries of the modern age, a haunting reminder of the untamed and unpredictable nature of our world.